For 14 years, Simone Carter's stepparents treated her like she was free labor, not family. Now she's 32, living on her own in a small apartment just outside Charlotte, North Carolina. According to her extended family, Simone scrubs office floors at night, struggles to pay rent, and sometimes has to hit up her grandmother for a little cash. That's exactly what Denise and Curtis want people to think. Simone doesn't bother setting the record straight anymore. Truth is, her life looks nothing like the story they tell. She works as a senior compliance investigator at a regional bank. She chases down forged loans, money stolen from vulnerable people, shady transfers, real white-collar crime. And she keeps her job under wraps on purpose. Simone learned early, if her stepmother found out Simone cared about something, Denise would find a way to use it against her. It started when Simone was 10. Her dad died out of nowhere. Denise got the house, and within a year, she'd married Curtis Bell. Simone's childhood kind of evaporated after that. Every day, she was up at 5. She made breakfasts, ironed Curtis's shirts, cleaned up after everyone, and got Denise's kids ready for school. Birthday parties? Not for her. Parties were for the other kids. Simone stayed behind, scrubbing cars and floors. And thanks to Denise, her bedroom was really a cot in the laundry room. The younger kids need more space, Denise insisted. If Simone ever pushed back, Denise had a line ready: be grateful. Without us, you'd have nowhere. Curtis didn't need to shout. In front of family, he'd act calm and polite, then tell everyone Simone was difficult, lazy, and unstable. Alone, he made sure to control her food, refuse to buy school supplies, and collect every single dollar she earned at weekend jobs. When she got offered a scholarship at 17, Curtis hid the letter. Simone found it 3 months too late. Denise just shrugged and said, maybe college isn't for everybody. The only one who saw through it was Simone's grandmother, Evelyn Carter, down near Charleston. Evelyn kept inviting Simone to move in, but Denise always threatened legal trouble if anyone tried to take her away. By 24, Simone finally left. She took one suitcase, $83, and a folder of documents Evelyn managed to save for her. Days, Simone worked. Nights, she studied. She built a career the Bells never knew about. But Denise still told the family Simone was lazy, a failure. Curtis kept the lie going, claiming she was always getting fired. Simone let them talk, saying nothing helped. It gave her space felt like freedom. 8 years went by. Then one rainy Thursday at 7:16 p.m., Evelyn sent her a message that appended everything. The message was just a photo of Evelyn's handwritten peach cobbler recipe. Looked normal, but a few details caught Simone's eye. The word cinnamon was circled. The card was upside down, and a silver spoon rested at the bottom right corner. Beneath the picture, Evelyn had typed, "I seem to have forgotten the second ingredient." Simone froze. Back when Simone was 13, Denise locked her in the laundry room for supposedly stealing food. Evelyn had found her like that. She couldn't confront Curtis outright. She risked being banned, so she invented their code. An upside-down recipe meant I'm not safe to talk. A circled word meant I can't speak freely. The silver spoon on the corner meant it's about money. And the second ingredient? That meant someone else was also in trouble. This wasn't grandmotherly confusion. This was a warning. Simone dialed Evelyn. No answer. She called again. Nothing. Immediately, she rang up the Charleston County Sheriff's Office and requested a welfare check. She spelled out their family code, Evelyn's age, and said someone might be stealing from her. Then she called her own boss at the bank and declared a potential conflict of interest. 37 minutes later, Simone stood on Evelyn's porch with 2 deputies. The door swung open before anyone could knock. Curtis stood there. He smiled at the deputies, then landed his gaze on Simone. "You got here sooner than I expected." She hadn't seen him in years. "Why are you here?" she asked. Curtis stepped out onto the porch, his voice dropping hard and quiet. "Still poking around in people's finances, Simone." She didn't flinch, but her stomach turned cold. As far as everyone in the family knew, she was just a cleaning lady. Only someone with inside info would know she was an investigator. The deputies asked to see Evelyn. Curtis said she was sleeping. It had been a rough afternoon. Claimed she was forgetful, paranoid, and suspicious of anyone trying to help. His language? Chosen on purpose. He wasn't just describing an old woman, he was laying groundwork to argue she couldn't make her own decisions. But the deputies insisted, they had to see Evelyn alone. After a few minutes, she came out in slippers and a heavy sweater, sweating in the warmth, hair a mess. She looked anxious. Not like herself. "Grandma," Simone said softly. Evelyn glanced Curtis's way before answering. "I'm fine." But Simone noticed the yellow dish towel tied on Evelyn's sewing basket. Years earlier, Evelyn had used that same towel to wrap the scholarship letter Curtis had buried. She'd kept it as evidence. Now, the towel meant she had proof. While a deputy spoke with Curtis, Evelyn nudged the basket to Simone with her foot. Simone kept her poker face. She asked, in front of another deputy, "Would you like me to take this for you?" "Yes," Evelyn answered. Curtis lunged forward. "She doesn't know what she's saying." Evelyn stiffened. The deputy stood between them. "Let her decide." Evelyn looked Simone dead in the eye. "Take it somewhere safe." Curtis's face changed. Outside, as the deputies wrapped up, Curtis followed Simone to her car. He whispered, "You spent 14 years learning obedience. Don't get brave now." She glared back. He leaned in. "I know where you work. I know your cases. And I know how fast an investigator becomes a suspect." He left before she replied. Simone set the sewing basket on her passenger seat. She didn't open it. Not yet. She went straight to her bank secure office, let her boss know she was removing herself from the case, and waited for a forensic accountant, Danielle Price, to help her examine what Evelyn had hidden. Inside, 4 property statements, a little digital recorder, Evelyn's expired passport, 2 prescription bottles, a flash drive, and a meticulously kept ledger. There was also a photo of a younger black woman Simone had never met. On the back, Evelyn had written, "Her name is Renee Watkins. Find her before Curtis does." They went through the property documents. Turns out, Evelyn's house had been tied up as collateral for 3 business loans, nearly $500,000. The loans all came from Bell Family Support Services. Denise is listed as managing director. The compliance officer? Simone Carter. Her signatures on all the big paperwork. Simone just stared. She'd never heard of this company. Never signed a thing. Curtis wasn't after just Evelyn's house. He'd built a fake paper trail leading right to Simone. Then Danielle opened the ledger. The final entry. Curtis says Simone will take the blame because everyone already believes she is desperate. Denise says 14 years of calling her useless was not cruelty. It was preparation. Simone read it again. Her stepparents hadn't just broken her spirit. They'd built the story of a desperate, unreliable woman the perfect scapegoat. And somewhere out there was a second victim, Renee. Danielle pushed the documents through official channels while Simone signed her formal recusal. She could be a witness now, but she'd have no direct role. Curtis must have known how the process worked. He moved fast. The next morning, Simone got an email invite for a private career meeting from Curtis's attorney. She said yes, not out of trust but because people like Curtis always talk more when they think you're scared. At his office downtown, his walls full of plaques from churches, charities, business groups, Curtis projected the perfect image. Standing beside him, Denise looked dignified, gold cross and all. Simone remembered Denise looking just as put together years ago, standing aside while Curtis locked the laundry room. Curtis slid a folder across the table. Inside, photos of Simone entering her own workplace, speaking at fraud prevention events, talking with law enforcement. There were also confidential banking records faked to show Simone accessing Evelyn's money 6 months back. Denise said, "You lied to us." Simone almost snorted. "About what? Having a career?" "About everything," Denise insisted. Curtis sat back, smooth as ice. "We'll send these to your employer unless Evelyn withdraws her accusations." Simone said the records were bogus. Curtis started in on the investigator's game. It doesn't matter if they're fake. What matters is whether people think they could be true. Then he implied Simone was the real criminal. Curtis said the company had been created to help Evelyn, and Simone's name helped that look legitimate. If Simone pushed back, Curtis would accuse her of making up the whole company, forging every document, even tricking Evelyn into blaming him. He had copies of her old forms, signatures, even relatives lined up to claim Simone was broke and expecting an inheritance. 14 years of lies, enough to build a jury pool. Denise folded her hands. "Prove you're better than us, and you lose everything." Simone stood up. "You did teach me one thing." Curtis grinned. "How to clean?" "No. How to spot people who think control makes them smart. Simone walked away, leaving the threat behind. That evening, she and Danielle found Renee Watkins. Renee was 41, a respiratory therapist up in Raleigh. At first, she wanted nothing to do with Simone. But as soon as she heard Evelyn's name, her silence dragged on for nearly half a minute. Then she said, "Let's meet somewhere public." Over coffee, Renee told the other side of this story. She was Denise's younger half-sister. Got pregnant at 19 and ended up living in the Bell house when her own mother wouldn't help. Curtis volunteered to manage Renee's small inheritance. A year later it was gone. Curtis spread stories about Renee wasting the money, partying, using drugs, and Denise backed him up. Renee was cut off, forced to start her life over without family. 16 years since she'd said a word to Denise. Before Simone's mystery message, Evelyn had gotten worried and reached out to Renee, too. Evelyn found proof Curtis had used Renee's identity for the first version of Bell Family Support Services. Compliance heat built up, so Curtis shut that company and started a new one using Simone's name. Renee was the first scapegoat. Simone was just next in line. "He needs a woman nobody will believe," Renee said. "Then he makes everything her fault." She pulled out emails, bank slips, even a voice recording she'd kept forever. In it, Denise told her, "Sign what Curtis gives you, or we'll let everyone know what kind of mother you are." Solid history of manipulation, but nothing current tied Curtis to Evelyn's immediate danger. They needed more. Then Denise reached out to Simone. Wanted to meet at a hotel by the airport. Sunglasses at night, confidence gone. Curtis was getting ready to throw her under the bus, too. She told Simone the company was never real. No actual clients, just a front for shuffling loans, billing for fake services, draining money from the elderly. She'd signed the forms, opened the accounts, played along with every lie about Simone and Renee. At first, she liked the perks, the house, the vacations, the local fame. But she found out Curtis controlled secret records, ones that made it look like Denise ran everything, alone. If it fell apart, she would take the blame first. "What do you want?" Simone asked. "Protection." Simone didn't let her off the hook. "You watched him turn me into a servant." Denise lowered her eyes. "I was scared." "No," Simone said flatly. "You only got scared when you realized he'd do to you what you helped him do to us." Denise crumbled. Curtis planned to have a friendly doctor declare Evelyn incompetent in the next 2 days. Once Evelyn was sent to a locked facility, Curtis would sweep up the last of the house equity into a new company. He also had a criminal complaint drafted, this one pinning identity theft on Simone. Denise offered bank records. Simone refused to touch them herself. "Hand everything to the forensic team and the police," she said. "Not me." Denise hesitated. "If I help, I'll lose everything." "You already gave up everything that matters." Next morning, Denise went to the district attorney's office with a lawyer. She turned over emails, logins, and a backup drive from Curtis's home safe. That afternoon, the court froze all accounts and barred Curtis from controlling Evelyn's funds. Evelyn moved to a protected apartment, her medication monitored by an actual, independent doctor. Curtis couldn't touch a cent. So he went after Simone's reputation. By sunrise, Simone's employer suspended her. News sites ran vague stories about a bank investigator exploiting an elderly relative. No name, but enough details for insiders to connect dots. No promotion. Her ongoing fraud investigations? Pulled. Family? Their messages blew up Simone's phone, half calling her a monster, half saying, "Told you so." Simone sat in the dark and wondered, had keeping quiet kept her safe? Or just let Curtis sharpen the knife? Then Evelyn called. Her voice was clear, less foggy now that Curtis couldn't mess with her meds. "He hurt your job, honey," Evelyn said. "For now. You can walk away. I'll say I made a mistake. I'll tell them you didn't hurt me." But Simone shook her head. "That's what he's counting on. He wants us to protect him." "What, then?" "We stop." Danielle found the crack Curtis left behind. The banking access logs showing Simone poking around in Evelyn's finances they used a format no bank had touched for years. The hidden data on the files pointed straight to a computer inside Curtis's office. And those signatures? They came from the scholarship letter Curtis hid when Simone was a teenager. He'd kept everything. Just in case. Denise's backup drive was even worse. Curtis had secretly recorded meetings about his plans. On tape, he explained, we trained the family to see her as desperate. Nobody questions a guilty woman just how long she's been stealing. Someone asked him, what if Simone proves the docs are fake? Curtis laughed. Then Denise takes the blame. Family was just insurance layers to hide behind. But for investigators, they needed a smoking gun as sign Curtis currently controlled Evelyn's money against her will. So Evelyn hatched a plan. She'd agree to sign new documents, on the condition Kurt explained everything, and left Simone out. The police would monitor everything, legally. Simone hated it, but Evelyn closed that door. This time, let me be the one who refuses. The meeting was set for Sunday. Curtis walked into his own trap. He thought Evelyn had given up. He had no idea Renee was sitting in the next room. No clue Denise had already spilled the recordings. And the missing ingredient in Evelyn's recipe? It wasn't money. It was Renee, the second woman Curtis erased. Curtis showed up at Evelyn's house with a leather briefcase. Right behind him came a private doctor and a mobile notary. Denise arrived on her own. She kept her eyes away from Simone. Evelyn sat at the dining table, dressed in navy and finally wearing her pearl earrings, her favorites, the ones she hadn't been allowed to touch for months. Her lawyer sat next to her. Simone drifted near the window. Renee waited in the next room, just out of sight. Curtis pulled out 4 documents, a new power of attorney, a rewritten trust, a medical release, and a statement accusing Simone of coercing Evelyn. Sign these, he told Evelyn. That'll fix this whole misunderstanding for the family. Evelyn glanced at the first page. Why is Simone listed as an officer in your company? She asked. Curtis didn't hesitate. You asked for it. I didn't. Curtis shot a quick look at the doctor. This is what I've been saying, her memory isn't reliable. The doctor started asking Evelyn basic questions, trying to test her memory, but her attorney cut in. Did Mrs. Carter agree to this evaluation? Curtis jumped in. She doesn't understand what she needs. Evelyn's grip on the paper tightened. Curtis noticed and softened his tone. We're just trying to help. Evelyn's eyes flashed. Help like you helped Renee. Silence hit the room. Renee stepped through the door, holding old bank statements. You stole my inheritance, she said. You used my name, spent the money, and told everyone it was my fault. Then, when the company got risky, you replaced my name with Simone's. Curtis stared at Denise. You brought her. Denise said nothing. Evelyn opened her ledger, the one Curtis always told her she didn't need. Page by page, she listed loans against her house, fake expenses, money funneled to Curtis's firm. Curtis just waved it off. Legitimate costs, he said. Then Evelyn placed a small brass key on the table. It belonged to a safe deposit box Curtis never knew about. Inside, she had the deed to her house, cancelled checks, letters from Curtis's accountant, and Simone's old scholarship letters. There it was proof that Curtis drained Simone's education fund, $74,000, moved into his first business. After that, Curtis and Denise told the family Simone turned down college because she was lazy. You stole her education, Evelyn said. Then you made her clean your house and called her useless. Denise's head dropped. Curtis didn't budge. She had food. She had shelter. Simone finally spoke. I had a mattress by the washing machine. You were difficult. I was 10. Curtis looked at Evelyn again. This is why you need protection. She's filling your head with old grudges. Evelyn looked Curtis dead in the eye. What if I refuse to sign? His lawyer wasn't there. The doctor and notary waited for his cue. Curtis leaned in. The court will declare you incompetent. You'll lose your home. Simone will be investigated and lose her job. Renee will be called a liar. And Denise? She'll be charged with the mess you all made. Denise's lips trembled. You promised you'd protect me. Curtis barely looked at her. You should have followed the plan. That was it. Denise slipped off her wedding ring and set it on the table. Curtis stared, but didn't say a word. Evelyn lifted a recipe card. You thought we'd all stay scared of losing something, she said quietly. But you never noticed you'd already taken it. Curtis told the notary to start. She closed her case. I won't stamp a signature forced under pressure. Curtis finally snapped. He lunged for Evelyn's ledger, but Simone moved in front of him, blocking his path. "You're still the same little girl, always waiting for permission," he growled. Simone didn't blink. "No. I'm the woman who learned to keep records." That's when Evelyn opened the door. Two detectives walked in, Danielle and an officer from financial crimes. Curtis immediately put on his polished, public voice. "Simone manipulated an elderly woman. She set this all up." The detective barely looked at him. "We have warrants for all your electronic records, and charges for fraud, identity theft, elder abuse, intimidation, and obstruction." Curtis turned to Denise. "Tell them Simone threatened you." She stepped toward the police instead. "He prepared false documents in Simone's name. Ordered me to sign things. Controlled Evelyn's medication. He wanted to blame me when it all crashed." Renee added her story. Then Evelyn showed them the recorder taped under the dining table. "I wanted to hear you say the threats out loud," she told Curtis. Curtis lurched forward, but officers grabbed him before he reached the recorder. As they cuffed his wrists, he glared at Simone with pure hatred. "I gave you a home," Curtis spat. Simone's voice stayed cool. "You gave me evidence. You destroyed this family." "No," she said. "You turned this place into a crime scene. We just stopped cleaning up after you." The investigation uncovered 5 fake companies and over $1.2 million in fraud loans, fake invoices, stolen funds. Elderly clients lost their savings after trusting Curtis. He cut them off from family, said their kids were greedy, and paid off doctors to claim they were incompetent. Simone wasn't the only person he targeted to take the fall. She was just the one he spent 14 years trying to discredit. Curtis lost his professional licenses. His consulting firm was placed under court control. All his properties got frozen and sold to pay people back. His photos vanished from the churches and charities where he'd played the hero. Former employees dug up emails proving he'd ordered audits faked and documents destroyed. Denise pled guilty, and cooperation cut her sentence, but it didn't erase what she'd done. She gave back everything she'd gotten through Curtis's schemes. Before sentencings, Denise asked Simone for a meeting. "I know being afraid doesn't excuse it," Denise said. "But I did care about you." Simone studied her just for a moment. "Caring without protecting someone isn't love, Denise. It's just a feeling." Denise started to cry. Simone didn't comfort her. 14 years Denise had watched and looked away, regret only hit when her own life burned. Forensics cleared Simone at work, but her promotion was already gone. Some colleagues apologized. Others kept their backs turned. Justice didn't restore everything Curtis took, but it stopped him from taking more. Evelyn got her house back. She found her friends again, started speaking to others about financial abuse. Renee rebuilt her relationship with Evelyn but kept her distance from Denise. The family didn't end up picture perfect. They were just honest now. Months later, Simone and Evelyn opened the deposit box one more time. They found the scholarship letter Curtis had hidden years ago. Next to it, a photo of teenage Simone, cleaning bucket in one hand, schoolbook in the other. On the back, Evelyn had written, "They called her a servant because admitting she was strong would have shown them how weak they were." At sentencing, Evelyn spoke last. She didn't ask the judge to punish Curtis. She just wanted accountability. "My granddaughter served this family for 14 years, Evelyn said. Nobody listened to her silence. They thought it was permission. But silence is the place you keep your strength until you can finally use it." Curtis went to prison and lost all rights to manage anyone's money again. Just before he left, he asked for Simone. A deputy stood between them. "You think they respect you now?" he jeered. Simone looked at him, the man who'd spent half her life making her feel small. "I stopped needing their respect when I realized what it meant." He tried to hurt her one last time. "You'll never forget what we made you." She shook her head. "No, you'll never forget what I became despite you." She left the room. She heard him call her ungrateful. The word didn't stick. Ungrateful is what people call survivors who stop mistaking abuse for a gift. Years back, Curtis and Denise forced Simone to sleep beside a dryer and scrub a house they'd bought with money stolen from her future. They expected her to stay ashamed. Instead, she became the one who tracked every lie, every transaction, every secret, until there were too many for anyone to hide. Prison was just part of their punishment. Worse was seeing the girl they dismissed become the witness they could never discredit. Seeing Evelyn reclaim her voice. seeing Renee walk back in with 16 years of receipts. And finally seeing that Simone's silence wasn't weakness. It was patience. Curtis and Denise thought 14 years of humiliation would teach Simone to obey. In the end, those years taught her how control works, how lies become family truths, and how the quietest person in the room might be the only one keeping real accounts. They called her a slave. Treated her like baggage. All it took was one coded message to show them what they never understood. A woman doesn't forget the house that broke her. She remembers every locked door, every stolen moment, and every person who looked away. So here's the real question: if Evelyn hadn't sent that message, would Curtis and Denise have ever stopped? Tell me what you think below. And don't forget to subscribe to Revenge and Redemption Tales, where betrayal never disappears, it just waits for the truth to catch up. Because every choice leaves a footprint. And regret shows up, every time. And that brings us to the end of today's story. Thank you so much for watching and for always showing up to enjoy these tales of revenge, justice, and redemption. Before you leave, tell me in the comments, what city or country are you watching from? I would truly love to know how far these stories are reaching and personally appreciate this amazing community. Remember to like this video and subscribe for more unforgettable stories where betrayal has consequences and every ending carries a lesson. Until the next story, stay strong, protect your peace and heart.